Alrighty, guys. So, like I said, I was going to be hopping in about domestic abuse, and I'm not saying that men don't do it. This isn't attack on women or anything. This is just simply saying that after the whole Johnny Depp situation, how there were so many people, including someone I know personally, who I've known for years, was just suddenly to take Amber Heard's side, putting a post on her Facebook and everything. They're saying about this. She even said this is why women don't come forward, because people want proof, or people demand evidence, or it didn't happen, just, don't believe them or think they're making it up for money or something like that. She even said that it could be a lie or something like that, but mostly she was against her. So anyway, let's just kind of hop in on this, huh? Okay, so invisible victims. When men are abused. In case of domestic abuse throughout the world, the stereotype involves a man abusing a woman. For some, however, the story goes the other way around. In figures quoted by the helpguide.org, approximately 1 in 3 abusive victims are male. That's 33%, a startling high number. Men usually are blamed for abuse because of modern gender stereotypes. Women were perceived as the weaker gentler sex, whereas men are perceived as being stronger and having natural tendencies towards violence. These stereotypes are false. And guys, let me say that I was trying to get more government type statistics and stuff, but I really couldn't find that many. It mostly got into like sexual abuse, talking about how women do it, abuse children or men and young boys, but the reasons are different. It was going on about what is it, in like juvenile centers, where that's where there's more women, there's a high tendency of it happening, stuff like that. But that's not what this video is about. So I just kind of want to get that out of the way really quick because I almost forgot to. But anyway, yes, it's 33%. Keep in mind, this is .org. Again, this is not normally what I go into or the sources I try and use. It's not an easy subject. As somebody who was abused as a child, I know it all too well. I've been with some women who are pretty controlling. I don't know if I'd call it abuse. Maybe it was, because at least according to these things it was. It talks about extreme mood swings, consistent anger, displeasure, withholding sex, name calling, public humiliation, harming pets, destroying possessions, biting, spitting, striking with fists or feet, using weapons such as guns or knives. It just kind of goes on. Women frequently are excused for these behaviors. Some excuse include she was abused when she was younger, she experienced severe emotional trauma, it was just hormones. Even if a man does not sustain serious or even physical injuries from these abusive episodes, damage manifests itself in other ways. It just goes on talking about men can become alcoholics, would rather be at work than at home, things like that. But yes, this is just something that, emotional abuse, how do you track that? If it's emotional, like, if a man gets angry and he hits, you're going to see it. But how do you track something when it's just emotional? Like, you can't, There's no way of knowing if it's happening or not. Anyway, let me hop on to the second one though. When women emotionally abuse men, some believe that men are more sensitive to emotional abuse than women and can brush off physical abuse. Yes, as more abuse. I thought to say or not, but whatever. More easily, male victims are of emotional abuse who are called a coward, impatient, or a failure may be more affected by these remarks than their female counterparts. Controlling the emotional and emotionally abusive men, abusive behaviors elicited by women may include falsely accusing or threatening to accuse a man of assault on them or their children, threatening to take away child or custody of the children, threatening to kill themselves or others, making a man feel like he's crazy, minimizing the abuse, blaming the victim of the abuse, playing mind games, making a man feel guilty, falsely obtaining a restraining order, withholding affection, stalking. And how many of this have we heard before? Like, I forgot. I guess when there was a big YouTuber her boyfriend said that she would threaten to kill herself and stuff like that. And yeah, my mom used to threaten my dad by saying she would take us away from him. Stuff like that. How she would just leave and take us with her, and there was nothing you could do about it. She did actually call domestic services one time falsely she was abusing us, but she claimed he was the one doing it, or he abused her or something. Anyway, let me get on to the third one here. The CDC study: more men than women are victims of partner abuse. Summary: according to 2010 National Survey, the Centers for Disease Control, Department of Justice, in the last 12 months, more men than women were victims of intimate partner physical violence, and over 40% of physical violence was directed at men. Men were also more often the victim of psychological aggression or control over sexual and reproductive health. Despite this, few services are available to male victims of intimate partners violence, physical violence. Sorry, I'm having to click it while I'm doing this. More men than women were victims of intimate partner physical violence within the past year, according to the national study funded by the Center for Disease Control. Funny how they keep going with the 1 in 5 women and the CDC, which even the women who came up with that study debunked. They said that was not to take it like that, but they completely ignore this one. Anyway, sorry. According to the National Intimate Partner Sexual Violence Survey, the NISVS released on December 2011, within the last 12 months, estimated 5,365,000 men and 41,000 women were victims of intimate partner physical violence. Black MCET 2000 tables 4.1 and 4.2. Let's see. 1.2 million. Oh, okay. Yeah, and 1.2 million women. 8,305,000 men were victims of intimate partners physical violence. The precedings 12 months, 1 year prevalence are considering to be more accurate than lifetime rates because they do not depend on recall of events long past. Okay, yeah, there's like just a lot of years, dates, and stuff like that. But anyway, as you can see, yes, there's quite a few men. There's still more women than men, but keep in mind, well, we'll get into a part later as to why this is, but like it also states that it's usually that it's assumed that the man is the one doing it, or the woman's excused for it, because most people think of physical violence when they think of abuse, not emotional, not psychological, or anything like that. And like I said, sorry, I'm having to click my video and the articles to try and keep up with both and make sure they sync up at least a little bit. So please forgive me for the clicking. I'll have to find a way to take care of that next time or sometime. It's just really difficult. Anyway, on to the fourth. When wives beat their husbands, no one wants to believe it. From the LA Times, during the recent Trump administration domestic abuse scandals, most of the attention has been focused on former Staff Secretary Rob Porter. I didn't hear about this one. Someone might fill me in. Porter resigned after both his former wives publicly accused him of assault, while with a photograph has corroboration. In one instance, but second case involving speechwriter David Sorensen, who also quit over allegations of past spousal violence, is far more complicated. Sorensen asserted that his first marriage he was the abused spouse. His claim raises an important issue, one that unfortunately has been overshadowed by the moral train wreck of Donald Trump's White House. Okay, however they feel about it, at least they're admitting that, hey, there's something's wrong here. And this is true. Like, there's a video of a lawyer, I think. His wife was saying she was falsely accused him of beating her, and when he's asking why, he's like, oh, she's just basically that way you lose everything and all this other stuff. I mean, that is pretty. I'll call that evil too. There's other things I would call evil, but that was definitely one of them. Like, go out of your way to get someone to completely do what you want to submit, simply because you're angry at them, simply because you feel entitled to be able to dictate everything they should do in their life. Just somebody wanting that much control, having that much control too, especially given to them by society. I mean, geez. I mean, I don't even know how do you explain that? Like, what do you say to all that? But anyway, the article just goes on about Stearns' ex-wife, Jessica Corbett, told the Washington Post she revealed her abuse to the FBI in 2017. She reiterated her accusations on television interviews. Yet Stearns has at least some evidence on his side. The statement he posted after his resignation is accompanied by several cell phone photos from 2015 and 2016. No minor cuts, scrapes, and bruises on his face, neck, and chest. There is no proof there was inflicted by Corbett. But assuming the dates on the photos were not doctored, the fact that Stearns has documented the injuries has some significances. Again, at least, okay, after he called her a vulgar term. Okay, so, wait a minute, I missed something. Okay, Stearns' posted records also included screenshots of text messages in which Corbett says she justified in slapping him in response to his name calling. Okay, so again, we have a cell phone proof of he called her a name, and therefore she has a right to attack him. So in other words, she could have made that up, and everyone just bought into it and went with it. Anyway, here we are. The fifth one: society's attitude can make it harder. And this is for men to come clean about what's happened to them. Societies began to recognize the study of abuse of men, their partners. Society believes that attitude about men have kept this kind of abuse hidden because these beliefs. Men who are abused by female partners may not admit it. They may not want to tell anyone. Additionally, sometimes police and other professionals may not take the abuse seriously. And this is true. It happens all the time. I shouldn't say all the time, but it happens frequently enough. So there might be more men abused than we know, but they just won't come clean. And I'm going to jump into one kind of ahead of schedule because I want to talk about this at least a little bit, and that is the Duluth model. I talked about this in a different video, but basically the Duluth model is just something about for domestic abuse, and basically just targets the men. It's under feminist theory, and it's so wide practice that it's basically being incorporated into law. So in other words, not only is society more willing to take women's word for it, but so is the legal system. So are the police the second they get there. It's the man's automatically guilty. There's no trial. He gets arrested. He loses his right to own a gun. Why? Because, he obviously is a violent man. I don't know what else he loses. He might lose the right to vote. I can't say for sure. I do know he loses the right to own a gun, though, just from that alone. And these are things that need to be talked about. Regardless of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, he at least had proof. His bodyguards are willing to come forth. He has video surveillance showing that, she was the one who was abusive, and everyone took her word. And yet somehow Disney's still employing her. She's not going to lose her job. It's like, oh well, hey, this happened. I don't understand that. As soon as a man's accused of something, whether there's proof or not, look at Vic Mignogna. He was accused. Second he's accused, he loses everything. It is just insane. And I'm really gonna have to remember to post the titles of these, especially the one with the Duluth model, because it is from the National Institute of Justice, in which I have had trouble finding these at times. Anyway, guys, again, I'm sorry. I know my videos, with my voice, I don't get to put a lot of personality into them, but I usually do it kind of late because I just go in kind of late, and I'm a bit of a night owl. But I do want to do that. I'm probably gonna have to get over it because I can hear my neighbors, stuff like that. I don't want them to hear me. I don't want to hear, I try and keep it private. I try and separate things, not to cause problems. But anyway, at least I hope adding some video game footage does help out a little bit. Anyway, like I said, tell me what you guys think about this. Do you know anyone has experience? What experience do you have in it? Like I said, this happened to me as a child. And I'm not saying it's maybe, I don't know how to put it, like, for a very long time I would say as soon as I got hit by a woman, it just did give me that relapse of what happened to me as a kid, and I wouldn't have a problem just like, oh crap, I gotta defend myself and just swinging back. Again, I'm not saying that's right, I'm just simply saying that for a long time, until finally I realized that holy shit, they're not stronger than me, they're not as strong as me, because I've met bodybuilders who are proud to be able to bicep curl like 30-40 pounds. Right now I haven't worked out for about a year, maybe a little over a year, and I can still bicep curl about 30 pounds. And I really hit it. I mean, there was other things before that made me like, oh man. But we're talking early teens here when I was like that, so maybe mid-teens, I don't know. It's been a long time. Still, guys. Again, like I said, I admit my faults. I have no problem. I'm not gonna apologize for who I was. You know, I learned and got older. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Take care. Tell me your thoughts. Agree with me, don't agree with me. I'll see you guys next time.